Film deep dive.
Film deep dive.
Yeah, I prematurely went to it, but now it's
we're
ready.
good. We're ready to go.
Atlanta, Philadelphia, both 1-1. Falcons win 24-20. How about we start Falcons offense, Eagles defense?
Yep.
You good there?
I'm good there. Let's do it.
I want to go back up to what I remember about our conversation last week about Eagles, Redskins, Eagles offense. I'm sorry, the Eagles defense.
Right.
There we go.
Right.
Make sure I get it straight.
You're good, right?
And you said it. The first thing you brought up, I read it in your notes, Jim Schwartz too aggressive right away with the defense.
Right.
So now, a week later, it wasn't early.
Yeah.
It was late.
It was some
aggressive.
sprinkled in early, too, but they
Right.
got lucky and hung on by a thread that they didn't make some connections.
Right.
But you're right. Late in the game, it burned them.
Yeah.
This is my number one concern with this team on the defensive side of the ball. Because listen, I like a sporadic aggressiveness. Oh, we haven't shown this blitz, or we haven't all out blitzed, this quarterback all game long. I'm all for it. What's that?
But they had shown.
But they had shown it.
A lot.
Exactly. And this is Matt Ryan, and this ain't his first rodeo. And even you watch it on film, and now where I'm specifically talking about the last play for the Atlanta Falcons when they were down, and they throw a screen pass to the left for Julio Jones, and then he runs for a 54-yard touchdown. As soon as they broke the huddle, he kind of located the defense, and he switched the play right away. They came out in an empty formation. There was 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left, and he saw an alignment that he had already seen 4 or 5 times already, okay? And just for all those out there, normally you don't all-out blitz quarterbacks that are as experienced as a Rodgers, a Matt Ryan, a Tom Brady. You just don't do it because you're going to get burned eventually. They're going to see it and either find the right matchup or get into the right play and just screw that call over. And what he did was got into the most perfect play call for that. Oh, all-out blitz? Great. You want to send 6 people right at me? Well, I got one-on-one over here to the left with my 2 receivers, and you're playing a little off of Julio Jones. I'm going to throw him a quick pass. The tackle's going to come down and kick out the guy defending him, and he's going to go up the alley, and there's all she wrote. Mm-hmm. So it is my worry with this football team. Just like this is how they got themselves in a hole in week 1, because it was just a little too aggressive, leaving their corners in some vulnerable positions. And really in their other deep touchdown you saw, and I think it was it Calvin Ridley? I'm pretty sure it was Calvin Ridley on the post down the middle, right? Okay, it wasn't aggressive. It wasn't aggressive here. They were playing quarter, half coverage, right? So Darby had 1 quarter. The safety, I can't remember who it was at this time. It was number 42. If somebody wants to bail me out of jail with that, I'm going to I think it was. I'm just going to get it straight. It was Andrew Sendejo, who's there from the Minnesota Vikings.
Yep.
He's the safety to that side. He's playing quarters coverage. And then the other side, because Julio was over there, they were playing like cover 2, putting a safety over the top of Julio. Well, they had run this coverage a few times too. And as you know, you played quarterback. When a team plays quarters, you know that if you run anything in front of the safety in the middle there, in this case Sendejo, he's going to sit a little. And it basically becomes like one-on-one coverage on the outside with no safety in the middle of the field. And there was Ronald Darby, 8-10 yards off, having to cover Calvin Ridley. And I just don't care. You can bring Deion Sanders back. He's just not going to stop that.
Right.
It's just too hard. They need to either change the technique of how they play Ronald Darby in that situation. But again, called that, I think, a few too many times in the first half, too, to where they were expecting it. And now Matt Ryan, I've seen quarter half a few times. I have a post this time. I'm just going to look to the left a little, and then I'm coming back to that post for the home run. And that was big.
It was almost like that big sack that Sendejo had. You mentioned at safety. He had, late in the game, he came through
right through the middle.
A very aggressive blitz.
Yes.
And everybody's celebrating on the sideline.
Well, they had the interception the one time in the all-out blitz. So, again, Jim Schwartz won some plays. I don't want to take any credit from his aggressiveness.
Won a lot of them.
He won a lot of them.
Right.
Exactly right.
But in the end, the chess match.
Was
won by Matt Ryan.
They won by Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah. Anything jump out to you? I mean, Matt Ryan's all 3 interceptions were really stupid.
Right.
I mean, just again, for the second week in a row, I just go, damn. He made some bonehead ones in Minnesota.
Yeah. The one in the end zone, tell me if you saw it this way as well.
Right.
And I'm looking glass half.
Yeah, I get you. I know what you're going to say here.
But when you get that close to the goal line, everything is right there, and someone sneaks out, I almost got the feeling that he never saw him. Like the interception in the end zone to the linebacker. Like he didn't even know that he was there until the ball is 1 inch out of your hand. Like, we've all had that happen.
Definitely have. And I think it was Nathan Jerry, right, number 47, who got there, linebacker, who got some good depth on his job. I think you're right. I think he saw the tight end one-on-one, and he goes, ooh, my guy's big. I'm going to try to throw it soft and high over the top.
Yeah.
You know, okay, if you're going to do that, though, don't try to, like, do a lob alley-oop pass, like kind of drive it through the target, right? Like drive it to where if it goes off of his hands, it just goes high and off into the back of the end zone out of bounds, right? That's why the New England Patriots have a rule. Throw it high in the back, low in the front for those very reasons. But, yeah, that, and also just know your players. I mean, it's one thing if that's like Gronk or, you know, Travis Kelce going down the middle. It wasn't exactly that. But that interception, you know, the in-cut he threw, I think it was right before the half or whatever, to his left side. He was way late, threw it behind. And then what's the other one? Oh, and then, of course, the all-out blitz that he threw where he was just kind of came up way short throwing to Julio Jones on a go route.
What grade would you give him?
Oh, I would probably give him a B+ nonetheless because he hung tough. I mean, he had people around him.
I was hoping to give him a C because I could come back with the B.
You want him?
Because I thought there was a lot of good.
Yeah, there is a lot of good. There really is. And again,
but you see those interceptions. I think a lot of people would say, "Oh, he didn't play that well."
No,
there's a lot of plays you want back, but he pulled it back together.
Yeah.
And made some tremendous not only throws, but with the recognition at the end.
Definitely did some things mentally that are huge, right? And that only a few guys in football are really going to get to, and that's the specialness too. Added to the fact, Paul. I mean, I'm going to sit here and continue to defend Matt Ryan a little bit. I mean, O-line's not that good.
Right.
Run game stinks.
Devontae Freeman. And you brought this up last week. It made my eyes go right to it based off of listening to you when we were sitting right here a week ago. 11 carries, 22 yards.
It's over.
Right?
It's over. Yeah. I don't mean to be like, you know, Dr. Death or Doomsday here, okay? But it's over. Like, he's no longer the Devontae Freeman we once remember or the guy we saw shooting through the gap in the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots and ripping off 40-yard runs. You know, he's just gotten to that point in an NFL running back's career where he's taken a beating. He's had some injuries. He's not a real big guy to begin with, and he runs like he's Ezekiel Elliott.
Right.
And I just think it's caught up to him, and he's certainly lost a step there.
On the other hand, how nice is it to have two receivers who go over 100 yards from Matt Ryan? We've kind of been a theme here throughout when we're talking about offensively.
Right.
Having more than one guy that can do that.
They are studs, and they pose some definite matchup nightmares because, I mean, we know Julio's the man, but Calvin Ridley's he's a budding superstar.
Other side, Eagles offense, Falcons defense. I'm going to start the way I finished with Matt Ryan. What grade would you give Carson Wentz for his performance last night?
Gosh. I wouldn't be as good as Matt Ryan's, even though he did just some absolute magical things at the end. But I would probably give him like a C+.
You're going to drop him into the C's.
I am. I think so for this one.
Biggest
reason. Over-aggressive. Took some bad sacks, threw some balls where I want to go, ooh, some people are open. You didn't need to try to force a seam into coverage and things like that.
What was over-aggressive?
I mean, just even like, I just think of like the seam route to Aguilar when the guy gets hit in the end zone. He just had a few plays at times where I went, okay, there's shorter completions. You don't always have to go for like, you know, just the hammer shot, all right? The 2 interceptions, I mean, way too over-aggressive. He threw the first interception. He's like falling and like going to his right as someone's dragging on him, and he tried to throw the ball like he was going to throw a 60-yard go route down the sideline.
But he made a play like that at the end.
He did, but it wasn't 60 yards down the field.
Like 15,
you know, and then he throws another interception. And I think it was the third quarter, or maybe it was the late second quarter. I mean, he's fading to his left, and he's got a little like out and up on the right side, and he's got people around him again. And he's going to try to throw like a 50-yard pass as he's fading away from it with somebody kind of in his face. And I just want to go, those are the plays like he can't do it.
But he also threw a touchdown. That
was amazing.
Fading to his left, backing up.
Running to the left, and then just threw a laser.
Fit it in there.
Yes.
So, I mean, what's yay? You've got special ability. Nice job taking advantage.
Right.
And when is it too aggressive?
Okay, well, but what he did, what you're talking about in the end zone, right, is realistic. Like, okay, he got out. There was nobody around. He got himself free of all danger to where now I can set up. And if I want to throw my 100-mile-per-hour fastball, I can do it.
He wasn't that free, though.
But he was free enough to set up and let it go. Where the other ones, I'm telling you, he had people hanging on him, and he couldn't even get all his body into the throw. Again, he's the man. I love Carson Wentz.
Right.
He can physically do things that only a few people in football can do, but he's just got to gauge it a little bit better at times. He's going to get somebody hurt. Okay, with, like we saw Zach Ertz down the middle or Nelson Aguilar down the middle, you know, because it's always squeezing in there. I worry about him getting hurt. A little like Deshaun Watson. Every play is the last play of the game when he's got people around him.
I was at that game at the Coliseum a couple of years ago when he had his knee blown out, diving toward the end zone, running to his right, and he ran it. And part of me is like, that is a stud. That's the courage.
I know.
That's a gamer.
Yeah.
And part of me is like, did you not learn anything when you lost all that time for blowing out your knee? It was the exact same
play, right? Yeah. I know. No, and I think he's just a big soldier, and he just goes, screw it. You know, he's one of those guys, just like I was having this conversation with guys at lunch. I mean, NFL players have a remarkable ability to use these two words. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm about to get smashed. I'm going to dive. Fuck it.
Right.
Oh, it's a tight window. Fuck it. I'm going to throw it in there.
Love him for it.
I love him for it, too. I mean, he made that amazing play. He's getting tackled, and you think his knee's on the ground, and he throws a 20-yard in-cut over the middle, like on the money. Or, you know, the play at the end of the game, the 4th and 15. Amazing play by him. And he changed the play.
Which one are you talking about? Where he was falling down?
No, remember he threw basically like a jump ball down the middle to Nelson Aguilar?
Yeah.
Well, he there, just for a little insight on the play, it's the Seattle scheme. Keanu O'Neal's in the middle of the defense is kind of the down safety. If you remember back at the play, he whispers something to Darren Sproles.
Okay.
And he basically tells Darren Sproles, which I think is just run a seam route or run right at Keanu O'Neal. Because he knew, he knew what coverage they're in. And they had all go special. They had all go routes. 3 receivers to the right. Aguilar's running like which amounts to be that inside go route. It's like a deep cross, basically, but a go route.
Right.
And Keanu O'Neal's job is to cover that, but also beware of the back coming out of the backfield. So he sent the back right at Keanu O'Neal. And Keanu O'Neal saw Darren Sproles coming at him, and he was already 10 yards off the ball. And he's going, oh, gosh, he might throw it to Darren Sproles, and I got to make the tackle. But meanwhile, Nelson Aguilar snuck behind him, and that was unbelievable. Not only throw, but just great insight, I thought, altogether. Disappointed with the Eagles, though, offensively. I mean, hey, they lost Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey. That was a huge blow. Their offensive line got pushed around. I mean, there was people around Carson Wentz all night long. And playing on that surface in that stadium against that front seven, which is fast as hell, that can catch you by surprise. You know, the last few times they played Atlanta, it's been on grass field up in Philadelphia, which plays to their advantage. But, yeah, I think that was the big thing that jumped out to me. And I'm just trying to see here if there's anything else. Really, I kind of think I hit on it. The speed of the Falcons' defense, I do think, caused the Eagles problems. They were smart in not staying in their Seattle defense overly time after time after time. They had a few times where it looked like it was going to be Seattle defense. Ball snap. They went to cover 2.
Just quick cliff notes on Seattle defense. When you say that, you mean?
I mean a 3-deep, we call it 3-deep press bail, basically. So it's always like 8 guys at the line of scrimmage. That's why Cam Chancellor is Keanu O'Neal for this defense, right? And the corners kind of play bump. They give you one jam on the line of scrimmage, but then they back off. Their job is to not let you beat them deep. I was just disappointed in the game plan a little bit. I didn't see any of the Seattle beaters that you've heard me talk about a whole lot. Didn't see any of that to where I want to go, man, there's just too much inventory out there to not run some of those plays at this point. And like I said, the injuries, to not have a Deshaun Jackson for a team that plays single safety when you're going to get a lot of one-on-one outside, that was huge. For Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson, they're made for this type of game. So that was big. Let's also not forget they fumbled the freaking opening kickoff for the second half. That was huge. That put them in the hole 17-6. But either way, the Falcons were desperate and pulled it off.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.